Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Method Heroes of the Storm channel. My name is Nick, and I'm the flex player for Team Method. Today I'm coming to you on behalf of Hotslogs, the best place to find the most popular builds. And of course, check leaderboards and more to bring you a ganis guide. In this guide, I will showcase his skills and how to use them most effectively, which talents to pick in different situations, and of course, the optimal playstyle, which might vary a lot depending on the role you are filling, as well as the team compositions you are playing with and against. Before we get into the video, I would like to remind everyone that we appreciate your feedback. You can leave a comment below and like or dislike the video. And of course, you can check out my teammates' videos on this channel and subscribe to not miss out on future content. So let's begin with ganis' basic abilities. His trait, Vampiric Touch, heals him for 45% of damage dealt to enemy heroes and 10% to non-heroes. His Q, Fellclaws, is where most of your damage comes from. It can be used 3 times, dealing AoE damage and stunning enemies on your third swipe. Ideally, you want to auto-attack after every charge to maximize DPS, but it can also be used as a mobility tool. Also, you can try to time your third charge to interrupt certain abilities, like a Meridian Jump or Sonya Whirlwind. Necrotic Embrace, his W deals damage to your nearby enemies and gives 25 armor for 3 seconds. You basically use this whenever available and try to hit as many targets as possible to get the most value out of your trait. And lastly, his E, Night Rush. After a short channel, you gain 50% movement speed for 2 seconds and every hero you hit is put to sleep 2.75 seconds. You usually use this ability after the third charge of your Q, but you can also use this to either engage from a flanking position, peel for your teammates, or to set up kills. Keep in mind that it can be interrupted by stuns, so you usually want to wait for a Meridian, for example, to use his Stonebolt first. Moving on to ganis' talents. Your level 1 talent depends on what type of heroes you are playing against. If you are facing heavy auto attackers like Reyna or Sergeant Hammer, Winged Guard is the best talent. It basically gives 1 charge of block every time your W hits an enemy hero. So if you hit multiple heroes, you get multiple charges. Otherwise, Time to Feed, which gives a little bit more passive healing, is the go-to talent. On level 4, Fueled by Torment and Echo of Doom are very close in the amount of healing they provide. Personally, I like Echo of Doom more, since it also gives a little bit of damage. Might of Sargeras is viable if you think you can consistently use it to reduce burst damage. But since you usually want to use your W off cooldown, the other talents are much easier to play with and also more consistent. Your level 7 talent depends a bit on your playstyle. Usually Will of Tichondrius, which makes your third slash of Fellclaws steal 4% max HP of every hero hit. It's really good if you're facing double tanks or heavy melee compositions. So if you take this talent, you want to focus the enemy frontline and peel for your teammates. However, like Claws, which increases your next basic attack after every Fellclaw, is also viable if you plan on diving the enemy backline, which is also a viable playstyle, especially in Hero League. On level 10, I usually take Carrion Swarm. You become invulnerable and do AoE damage for 3 seconds. However, you do need to cast it for 1 second, so you can be interrupted. The other ult, Dark Conversion, you have to channel for 0.75 seconds. Then swap health percentages with a target over 3 seconds. Usually it's fairly difficult to get value out of this heroic, since you need to be very low HP, where you might either get CC'd on your channel or just burst it down, even if you get it off, since it takes 3 seconds to heal for the full amount. However, it's really strong in 1v1 or 2v2 situations. So if you're playing solo lane on maps like Rexus Holdout or Dragonshire, Dark Conversion can be really good. Carrion Swarm is a much safer and more consistent choice, especially in teamfights. If you think you might get bursted down, you can use it at fairly high HP to dodge CC and damage. But ideally, you do want to hold onto it for as long as possible. Use it at around 20% HP and try to hit as many heroes as possible. On level 13, Blood Rush is the best talent. It gives a really good movement speed bonus throughout the fight. The way it works is, every time you get healed by an ally, or if you heal yourself, you gain 1% movement speed, up to 15%, which you usually reach fairly quickly. On level 16, Plague Bats is the go-to talent. It makes your W do more damage to targets in front of you. It doesn't really affect your playstyle in any way, so it's very easy to play. Blind as a bat is a viable option. Once you activate it, you lose vision, but you can use your Q without cooldown for 6 seconds. I only take it if I have Will of Tichondrius on level 7, and think that I will fight in small areas like boss pits, where the vision loss doesn't matter as much since you just fight on the point. On level 20, Seeker Swarm is a decent upgrade to your heroic. Once it expires, you deal some damage and sleep nearby heroes. However, all the talents on this tier are viable, so it mostly comes down to personal preference. My ganis can be played as either the main tank or solo laner. I actually prefer him as the main tank, since solo laning in the current meta is mostly about soaking XP and clearing waves, which my ganis isn't very good at. As the main tank, you get to fight more, you can look for ganks and invade camps in the early game. My ganis is really strong in early skirmishes, because of his high self-sustain, decent damage and mobility. There are basically two different ways to play my ganis in a team fight, which depend mostly on your enemy team's composition. If you play against heroes who want to dive on your backline, like Anubarak or Genji, try to split up the enemy team by sleeping their backline and then peel for your teammates. In Hero League, you almost always play against some immobile ranged heroes without CC, who you want to dive on. And that's where my ganis is really strong, because a lot of the time you dive on their backline while their tanks dive on yours. And as my ganis, you can easily zone their backline by sleeping them and then chasing them with your Q, so that they can't ignore you but also take a long time to kill you. So during all that time, hopefully your team managed to kill their frontline, and once you're in a winning position, you can easily chase down the remaining targets. So let's weigh the pros and cons of my ganis. His strength, in my opinion, and the reason why he's so fun to play, is his ability to stick to immobile heroes because of the movement speed bonus from his E and 13 talent, and the low cooldown on his Q. And on top of that, he's really tanky due to his self-sustain and constant damage. So if you reach most supports or ranged heroes, they can't really fight back at all. Other than that, he has really good CC in his Q, but also his sleep, which is why he's really good at peeling for his teammates, while also doing decent AoE damage. His weaknesses are CC, because he doesn't have any immunities like Garrosh or Joanna for example. While he also needs to channel two of his abilities, which can easily be interrupted. So if you get interrupted on your ult, you will usually end up dying. But at the same time, if you manage to survive the burst and get your ult off at the last second, you often almost heal back up to full HP. My ganis is really strong in Hero League right now, because his biggest weakness, being CC and burst damage, is kind of negated by the Hero League nature, where players aren't very coordinated, don't chain their CC properly, and also don't focus the right targets. Which means you almost always get your ult off, and then you're almost unkillable in teamfights. So you can pretty much always first pick him, and even if you do get counterpicked, it might still not even matter. And his low cooldowns with high mobility, as well as his sleep being such a unique ability, make him really fun to play. And that about covers my ganis guide. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you did, leave a comment below and like the video. Again, as a reminder, check out my teammates' videos as well and give us your feedback on it. If you want to see more of this type of content, you can subscribe to the channel to not miss out in the future. This was brought to you by Hotslogs. This was Nick, thanks for watching and I hope you have a great day.